parents around disability in the country, especially 15 years ago, just had to fight.
Yeah.
You know? Everything was a fight.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day you get up
Yeah.
and it's a battle.
It's a battle, exactly, and isolating because there was no, especially around Asperger's, autism. You know, we were managing physical disability quite not in the 80s, but the 90s. You know, like 90s, 2000, we're starting to get all right. We don't put kids in wheelchairs. We realise that we can make schools accessible. We can, you know, figure this out. But you know, as far as a lot of other disabilities, especially associated with intellectual disability or spectrum stuff, it was just you're on your own. And the NDIS is, like you said, it's not quite there.
No,
like,
it's a start.
It is.
Step in the right direction.
It is, mate. It is.
Taking the
100%.
funding away is not going to take that direction any further.
What it does is, it's 15 years in. It's not 15. It's 5 years in. It's going to be 50 years in, and it's still going to be getting beat into place. And that's how I see it. Medicare still gets shifted around. You know, like it's a massive machine. It is a great thing. You know, the one weakness of it is if you don't have strong advocacy in that fight with the NDIS, still shit house.
Yeah.
If you have somebody who has a grasp of the way things are funded and the way it's going and can advocate on behalf of your kid, or you are the guardian of a particular person, then you can get some good gains out of it. But we are going from a pretty shit level.
Yeah.
We are. I toured around the country for a few years when the NDIS was rolled out, and we were going from a place that was the bottom of the OECD. You know, we were going from a place when it came to educating disability and employing disability. We were coming from below the likes of Mexico and Turkey.
Wow.
We did some stuff wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, like it's shit to, like, to be able to sit here and say that. It doesn't feel great,
No.
but you've got to say it.
Yeah.
Or else you're not going to get any change.
Absolutely.
So change is coming, but it's going to take a while, and it's the people that I really feel for now are the guys that don't have that strong advocate in there fighting for them.
So what's stopping that moving forward? Because from what you're saying, and from my own personal experience with my family, it sounds like you almost need a lawyer there with you to get the correct amount of funding, or know who to talk to, or an expert in that field to go there. And a lot of people, if you're out in the bush, if you're in the middle of Western Australia, you don't have that access.
Yeah, there was a kid getting pushed around in a wheelbarrow up in Toowoomba.
Oh,
because,
really?
Yeah, because he had to wait 2 years to get his plan approved.
Fucking hell.
Like,
serious?
Yeah,
like, that is
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, when it came out that this is what was going on, the plan got approved pretty quickly. But look, they took 30,000 people into the program, into the NDIS in, I think it was March last year, just in March, 30,000 people. So from recent surveys, there was around it was either 84 or 86% return of current clients that said that their life had improved, that they were either happy or satisfied or very happy with their engagement with the organisation. These 14% of people that were either neutral or felt like it was an unsatisfactory experience. 14% of 30,000 people who are entering in 1 month is a lot of shit stories.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of the thing, 86% of the time they nailed it. So
Yeah.
like, it just needs to continually try to grow into something that it was meant to be, and it was meant to be. The reason at its heart is meant to have 3 questions asked to an individual. How do we get you employed? That was number 1. If that's not possible, how do we get you to be able to give back to community? So volunteer. So what do we need to set up around you? No caps. It's just the cost is what the cost is. How do we get you to give back to community or play a role, say, in voluntary positions in whatever it may be? And the third one was that how do we get you to participate in community? If you're unable to be employed, if you're unable to give back through that, how do you actually get engaged in community? Whether that's participation in a park run, an art class,
whatever
purpose, yeah. And those three questions should drive every single interaction with the organisation. That's where I feel we should be heading back towards, because I feel like the people because people write me quite frequently about some pretty shit experiences, and I feel like that 3-tier interview is something that we need to kind of run back to.
I mean, that purpose thing for people, particularly people who are already starting from behind the start line, that's something that a lot of people miss out on. And if you have a disability, or if you're in the position where you are starting from behind the start line and you're in school and you're missing out on these particular things because you're undiagnosed or your family doesn't really know how to deal with it, maybe they've got 4 other kids who are absolutely fine, for lack of a better term, and you're just like, okay, what's going on here? For them to go into the NDIS, find something that they can actually put their life towards, that gives your life meaning.
Yeah.
Like, how important is that for a young person or an old person?
So I would say now that even if we start nailing the NDIS, nailing it tomorrow, we need community to come along as well. So one of the most enjoyable parts of the last 5 years is that I've been working with a company, working with Crown Resorts around Perth and Melbourne, and we started with 30 people with disabilities employed. Now we're up to 480, most of them high need, lots Asperger's, autistic. A parent came in last year, just the end of last year, and they spoke about how before they ran into the accountability program, how she was, the mum was a full-time carer of her 2 sons, 17 and 19, both who were high needs autistic. And the father was there as well and came in and spoke of this story about how he drove home from work one day and there were no supports. They weren't high enough, I guess, or the time the program hadn't extended into their region, so they were receiving no support. He drove into the garage and he saw a rope on the ground, and he just thought, oh, gee, that must have, like, what are we doing here? I thought that was in a cupboard, or when I got out of the car, come in, and his wife was sitting in the kitchen on a butt, just bawling. And she said that she was at a place where she was, she had thrown the rope over a rafter, and she was just tired, and she got pulled out of it by one of her boys. Started screaming, and it just kind of woke her up, and she went inside and she helped, and she just burst into tears. And by chance over the coming weeks, he ran into the program that I've been working with, and started engaging with there, and their boy got a job there, 4 days a week. Started earning his own money, started to be able to find his way to communicate to people outside of his mum and dad. Now both boys are employed. They're learning how to, over a period of time, they're learning how to live independently. We need more workplaces bringing people with disabilities within it. The effect is not just the individual, it changes the life of a parent. And if we fund disability to the absolute mint of how it's meant to be, we can't have that kid being knocked back. And that's all that mum and dad had already been looking for work for them, already looking for somewhere for them, could never found it till they walked through a door that was looking for them, really. And just that level of employment is purpose. Purpose gives you a bit of hope. And people with disabilities and their families need hope.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful story. To think that
it's a shit story, but it's a beautiful story.
To think that that's able to allow this family to live.
Yeah.
And that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like any able-bodied or not, you're just trying to get through every day.
You're trying to feel like there is hope there.
Yeah.
And that family, hope was removed.
Mate, and there's so, and that is the sad thing, the horrible thing about it is there are so many families where that is still very much the case right now.
It is 100%.
And hopefully there are right now some businesses listening that perhaps would be interested in having someone who does have a disability come on board in some facility.
Look, so out of the program that was started in Perth, they actually, because it was just operating within that one facility within the resorts associated with Crown, they started a hospitality disability network, and now they have, I think they're up to about 15 different hotels, bars. I think the airports, I'm putting them under the pump, Perth Airport, looking that it will go into there. They've got an additional 50 places for people with disabilities. Last time we were over there in Perth, when I was coming home, I got another couple of phone calls because they saw it online that there's this network out there. They were just a local corner shop who said,
"Oh wow,
I want to see what I can do. Can I join this network?"
Yeah.
And they joined the disability network that had set up, and they were able to employ another one person with a disability because they come into this network and they get given the skills to succeed in work. Because you've got to make sure that it's not just give them a job, it's give the individual the skills to succeed once they're there. Because there's if a person with a disability goes through the doors and they fail, how long till they go back? They've already been beaten up over the last couple of decades. They need to make sure that it's done well. And this place is going good, mate. We've got a 70% retention rate of 480 people with disabilities. Like, it's working. It's a better retention rate than the non-disabled part of the business.
Wow.